give you a little bit of a background. Walter and I and Ray Otani, we are like the three musketeers. When relationships were very strained, we are going kind of a little bit off subject for a moment. I just want to kind of give you a little bit of a background. When relationships were strained between the US and Japan, the three of us undertook a mission to Japan. And we brought along with us the US trade representative, and we sat down with the officials of MITI and JETRO. And the result of that whole interaction was we came with a solution. The solution was an opening up of the Japanese market to US products, and also an effort for US products to better comply with the requirements and the standard of the Japanese market, particularly in the automobile industry. You may think, it may sound surprising to you that Japan drive the other side of the road just like the British, right-hand side, not left-hand side. Yet we were exporting cars to Japan, our usual American cars with a left-hand side drive, just to, get you in the sense of understanding simple issues, but which can somehow be important. And eventually, the result of that mission was an opening of the Japan market and the creation of 13 foreign access zones through which foreign products could enter Japan. So we're very proud of this achievement. Ray Otani is gone, unfortunately, but Walter and I were here to tell you the story. In the meantime, Walter has been working on a project close to his heart, which somehow relate to the global environment. And I wish to give him the floor now to share with the conference his thoughts on that project. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate the chance to tell you about a project that my colleagues and I have been organizing that I think is going to prove to be quite provocative, possibly even game-changing. The project is called the Whole Earth Design Project. It was inspired by R. Buckminster Fuller, who came up with the concept of what he called the world game, in which he wanted to create a vast data bank that included an inventory of all the Earth's resources and of all the planet's needs, the population's needs, and to try to bring experts in to figure out how to work these things together, organize them in such a way that the world works for all humanity, which obviously it doesn't now. And obviously, the planet, even now, is not sustainable the way it's going. So we came up with the idea of creating this design project in which we want, first of all, to establish whether or not it's feasible. Is it possible? Do we have the natural and human resources and the appropriate scientific and expertise to, in fact, make sure that everyone on the planet has everything that they need? And perhaps it's a dream, but we wanted to take a look at it, and we wanted to start with just finding out what the real basic needs are. What we've done is we've designated 10 economic sectors. Just rattle them off for you, starting, of course, with the most important: air, then water, food, clothing, shelter, as well as access nowadays in the modern world to information, communication, transportation is one of the biggies, and healthcare and energy. So in order to find out whether or not this concept is feasible, we're planning to do an expert crowdsourcing. We have collected the individuals we've identified the individuals and organizations around the world that are expert in each of these 10 sectors. So what we want to do is we want to go to each of them and ask for their opinion about the feasibility of attaining this goal and come up with a consensus. But a unique thing about this project, this is probably quite provocative, is that we're doing it after disentangling economics from finance. Now, the two have become conflated. I blame the economists for that. Because economists, when they're giving their opinion about what's happening in the world today, are seldom talking about the economy. The economy is the production and distribution of goods and services. But if you go to the Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal and read all their articles, they're not talking about that. They're talking about finance. Try to keep the financial system together. And so this design is going to be, we're looking at the basics of human need, and we're starting with only the economy. And the expectation is that we will find that the financial system, which controls the economy, is perhaps, what shall I say, not worth it. For example, Buckminster Fuller, the futurist who designed the geodesic dome and who was the first one to dramatize the fact that we are passengers and crew members alike on spaceship Earth. So in order to make this thing work, we find that more than anything, the financial system is what gets in the way of progress. And I think the Morgan Stanley presentation this evening shows how everything is controlled by the financial system. So what we expect to find, we're going to ask the experts three things. What percentage of the world's population now enjoys access to the particular sector that you're an expert in? And what we expect and the next question is going to be, what will it take to spread this access to these essentials universally? And when we ask that question, it's not going to be an answer in terms of it's going to require trillions of dollars or yen or whatever, but that we're going to ask, what will it cost and require in terms of human labor, which is really where value begins. So how many workers are there that are keeping this thing going now, as imperfectly as it is? And how many more workers would be required to provide access to life essentials universally? And once we get these two answers, what we believe we will find is that it takes many fewer workers to participate in the economic system. Buckminster Fuller suggested 50 years ago that in the United States, the greatest economy in the world, 60% of the workers produce nothing of life-sustaining value. And I think the same is probably 80% today. So with the realization that that's true, and when we have so much to be done, we have people who are hungry, food over here, somebody unemployed, jobs over here, and we can't match the two. Why? Not enough money. And how could that be true in a world that's afloat in money? So what I'm encouraging you all to do is to take the provocative idea and think about how the financial system is what's responsible for all the troubles that we're having in the world today. When we have the resources, we have the technology, and you ask, why then don't we provide everything for everybody? And the question is going to be, perhaps, that the financial system doesn't want to. So as provocative as that is, contrarian, maybe even insulting, I don't know, but this is a fanciful idea that I think is worth pursuing. So I would invite any of you who are interested in learning more about this. You can see the experts that we've identified in each of these sectors and so forth. Just go to Google Whole Earth Design Project. And if anyone wants to participate or support in any way, it'd be greatly appreciated. So I thank you very much. I must say also, in parting, that this is an amazing day. It's very encouraging to find the industry working so hard and diligently and successfully to try to make the world a better place. In a small part of the transportation industry, a very important part, you're contributing to what I hope will become a much better world. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Walter, for your presentation. I'm going to make the proper documentation available to the participants for any follow-up. All right.